Hello everyone, I'm Harry.
And I'm Kyle.
Today we're going to be doing a Socratic dialogue on a very controversial issue, nuclear weapons. Why we have them and why we need them. Nuclear weapons have existed since the 1940s. The first two nuclear weapons were dropped on Hiroshima and Nagasaki in an act of war. Many more were dropped after in testing. Nuclear bombs today are over 100 times as powerful as the ones dropped on Hiroshima and Nagasaki. There are over 4,800 nuclear weapons in the United States, each one capable of destroying millions and devastating countries beyond repair. How we justify this, I am not sure, but
there are a couple of reasons that lawmakers and some of the brass give as to why we still have them. Mostly the fact that it's a deterrent for the upcoming nuclear powers such as Pakistan and Iran, and even some of the old members such as Russia and the North Koreans. So many people claim that it's just as a deterrent to keep them at bay and in order to keep their stockpiles going down. However, there have been some mishaps and some accidents with world-ending bombs that should not have.
Yes, there have been some very famous mishaps. In 1961, a B-51 carrying 2 nuclear bombs broke apart in flight, dropping its payload, one unarmed nuclear weapon and another armed. The only reason why that nuclear bomb did not detonate is pure luck. And even today, one of the bombs is still in North Carolina. It was never located. Another incident in Arizona, there was a socket that was dropped down a silo during repairs. It fell 70 feet, ruptured the missile's fuselage, and later caused a fuel leak, which led to an explosion. The only reason why this missile didn't go off is the same reason, pure luck. And there are a number of very pricey reasons why nuclear missiles are becoming outdated.
It costs $355 billion worth of taxpayer money in order to keep the silos open and running up to standards. That being said, the standards are not necessarily met, per se.
A nuclear response team was tested, and they scored marginal, a D equivalent, in the school. So that is quite low, considering they are in charge of the most dangerous objects ever created. Now, if that doesn't scare you, the fact that some silo doors were left broken for almost a year, propped open by crowbars, tagged with a sign saying danger. And there have been even more accounts of silo doors being left open and officers sleeping inside, being discovered by even food delivery people. It's very gross incompetence. In fact, the Vice Admiral in charge of nuclear missiles in the United States was arrested for using fake poker chips in Iowa.
And if that wasn't enough, a major general in charge of the codes for the nuclear missiles was in Russia for some meeting, and he got so drunk to where even the Russians said that was too much. A major general got too drunk in Russia. Just imagine that. Russia, where they're not exactly our allies, and a major general that has codes for the nuclear missiles was too drunk in Russia. That's not a good sign.
Now, there are arguments that are very interesting against nuclear missiles being removed. In fact, one man's argument was that nuclear missiles were necessary in the event that we did need them. But that event has never happened in the United States, and it doesn't appear like it will happen. In fact, that legislation was still passed, stating that nuclear silos had to be kept open indefinitely.
I believe it's ridiculous to think that we need nuclear weapons because, first of all, as I mentioned previously, the expenses are far too high. Second of all, the U.S. has largely the largest military in the world by a huge margin. No country even comes close to the amount of military power we have, not even Russia.
We spend 44% of the world's military spending. It's a massive difference between us and the next military power.
Thirdly, we have systems that will shoot down and deactivate incoming nuclear missiles. So people who say that we need them for a counterattack, that's not true because we have those systems in order to make sure that we do not get hit by those missiles. And those who say that we need it for a proactive attack, we have the largest military in the world. There is no need for world-ending missiles.
Yes, the entire existence has been a threat to humanity. The fact that we created something so dangerous and now we can't even maintain them because we created so many of them. I'm not saying that nuclear missiles need to be removed entirely, but it certainly seems like if they aren't being cared for properly now, there is clearly too many of them.
There's a couple of reasons why nothing has been done about them, not even to limit the number, because Obama has only dwindled the number of nuclear weapons by a mere 300, which is the lowest since we started removing them. And the main reason as to why nothing is done about it is because lack of public interest.
People are so desensitized when it comes to nuclear issues because as Americans, we've never really had an issue. We've had our Long Islands and our small nuclear mishaps, but we've never had something like Chernobyl, something that would put the fear of God back into us about these missiles. These are not simple things. In fact, they have more power condensed in them than most cities use in an entire year. It's a tremendously scary idea that they fall upon incompetent officers and unfit facilities to utilize these missiles. It's truly scary.
It is very scary. And hopefully the public will start getting interest in it. That way, we don't have to worry about a possible mishap that might actually shape the world as we know it.